Rebecca Fass, you are the author of a book that's just been released, Trace Vampires, and I'd like to ask you a few questions. First, how did you come up with the storyline?
I was living in Baja California at the time, and I was traveling back and forth up to San Diego. And it's a long, lonely drive, a beautiful drive, but long and lonely, and I daydreamed. And I was watching a lot of vampire movies, and particularly True Blood, and they're all pretty much the same. So I came up with an idea of a new vampire. And then I started making storylines in my head each time I go back and forth over 3 years. When I returned to San Miguel de Allende, I met Demetrio Aldana because I was just published a book called A Single Gringa in Mexico. And at the beginning it was a blog, not a book. And he's a vampire writer from Dallas. So he, in his research one night, found my most read chapter, which was titled Skinned Alive by a Vampire in Eye Heat, and he contacted me. We became friends, and then he asked me to proof one of his books for him. And I shared it with my friend Rebecca, and she said, I love this, ask him if I could be an editor after you've done proofing it. And he agreed. So the three of us became friends. And finally, I shared my idea with them and asked them to help me write it because I didn't feel that I could write it alone. They each had talents that I didn't have. So we agreed that we would do that. And it took 2 years. We have the present one published. We're having a book signing March 20th. But we have book 2 almost done. And we actually have the ending, which is in book 3.
I understand that you kept the 3 main characters' names and you didn't change them. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I get asked that a lot, and we thought of names, and we liked Rebecca and I because we're best friends, and it's, hi, I'm Rebecca, I'm Rebecca. We made nicknames, Bekka for me, and Rebby for her. And Demetrio, I mean, he has a fantastic name. So because it was about a Mexican man and 2 women who are American and a 3rd woman as well named Susanna, we could not think of better names. So we just chose to stay with that. And in our character development, it's worked out well for us because we have a lot of friends who wanted to be a character in our book, and people who have restaurants, clubs in San Miguel who wanted to be in our book. So we use their names, and we use part of their personalities and part of our own personalities, but we added personalities to our characters that we don't have, or deleted personalities that we didn't quite like, and actually added personalities of other people to our characters. For instance, I'll give you one example. I'm an enchantress, my character, as my power over men, and I'm not that at all, but I have a girlfriend who to me is. I've always called her a male magnet, and I could be at a bar anywhere in the world, and I might as well not even be there because there'll be 10 men hovering around her. And I love to watch how she attracts men, and that part of my character came from her.
All right, I understand you have an original painting that goes with your books. Can you tell us a little about the artist?
Yes. There's a lot of artists in San Miguel de Allende. I always say, I'm not sure if artists move here or San Miguel makes you an artist, but E.c.Bell came from South Carolina and had a gallery there, and he has a gallery here. And I've always admired his work. To me, he adores and worships women. A lot of women might not think that because mostly he does nudes. But I felt otherwise. So when he was having a showing, I mentioned to Rebecca that it'd be really great if we could get him to do a painting for our cover. And she, of course, said that would be lovely, but I don't think we can afford him. So I said, well, let's go to his new showing and I'll talk to him. And his paintings are very, very expensive. And he loved the idea. And he did a beautiful painting. And he didn't want any money from either of us. because he does love women the way he does. He wanted to auction it after we used it for the book cover to a women's charity in San Miguel. And he mentioned 3 charities, and we chose Casa Los Angeles, which is a daycare center for women who can't afford daycare center for their children.
Fantastic. And I understand that your book is currently available online at Amazon.com.
If you go to Amazon.com and look under either books, and then Trace Vampiras, or even my name, the author, Rebecca Fass, or Demetrio Aldana, you will be linked to the book Trace Vampiras, which is presently there, but again, there will be 2 more books, part 2 and 3 there. And right now I'm going to read you the summary that you will find on the front page of the Amazon page. And you can also click on the book and you can see the front and back cover and chapter 1. On a visit to Mexico, a mature American woman, Bekka, meets a mysterious silver-haired Mexican man at a nightclub in Puerto Vallarta. After an intense one-night liaison, he vanishes and Bekka vows to find him again. In her search, she discovers that he met 2 other women that night, Rebby and Susanna. The 3 women become very quick friends and decide to track down this mysterious man. Bekka felt an emotional and spiritual connection to him. He belonged to her, and she wanted to be with him. She couldn't explain why she felt that way, and Rebby and Susanna couldn't figure out why they felt so close to Bekka. The 3 ladies began to experience strange dreams and feelings toward each other, a drawing of souls toward one another. They hatched a plot to meet him again, unknowingly throwing themselves into a new, beautiful but dark world, a world that few know exists, the complex and inflexible world of the vampire or vampiro. Demetrio, as they discovered, was different than other vampires. He could walk in the day, and he could age. He was a child of the light, a white vampire whose only weakness was the full moon and only protection was the beautiful pendant he wore. Bekka had hoped to be with him, but as much as he wanted to explore that possibility, he told her the truth. His heart belonged to another, and that other had returned to Mexico. He was anxious to reunite with her and had to leave the 3 women in San Miguel de Allende under the protection of his faithful friend, Sister Helga. The sister would help the 3 discover their emerging powers and advise them about many future dangers that converged around one name, the one name that would toss their lives into a deeper, darker hole, Rose.